I'll give you a thumbs up when I'm ready. It just takes a moment or two.
Yep, that's it. I've got the thumbs up. And yeah, just like to welcome everybody. I'm really relaxed today because I'm this side of the camera for a change in terms of not doing the presentation. We've got James and Gavin in the room who are going to be talking to you about Funfly. It's something that I've known about for a little while. I know absolutely nothing about it apart from the pictures that I've seen. So I'm absolutely, glued to the screen to see what's going to be going on tonight. And so basically, I think Gavin and James are going to set up a first here as well. They're going to do a double act as well for the presentation. So so that could be quite fun. So without further ado, Gavin, James, kick it off for us, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Yes, thank you all for registering. Hopefully, we'll show you all about Funfly. And yes, any questions we'll try and answer at the end, if that's okay. Just a brief introduction, first of all, of who we are, before we start the actual presentation. My name's James Gordon. I started flying when I was about 10. My main interests are really RC scale, pylon, gliding, and of course Funfly. When I got involved with the Coachman Club, which I'm chairman of at the moment with my dad in the 70s, the club was already doing a good number of Funfly competitions, and later I took over running those competitions and then progressed eventually to flying at the Nationals in 1989. Our team is now running the Funfly at the Nationals. We started that in 2008, and I became one of the CDs. I'm currently chairman of the British Funfly Association, and my main claim to fame really is I managed to win Class 2 at the Nationals in the Funfly with a Watt 4 Foamy, which at least proved that any model is competitive with a bit of luck. Yes, and I also collect far too many 70s and 80s retro kits, so that's me really. I'll hand over to Gavin now, who can introduce himself.
Hi, my name's Gavin Barden. I'm also a member of the Caterham District Model Flying Club. I'm on the committee as the competition manager, taking over from James's many years of good work. I've been flying for around 30 years, and I've been flying Funfly ever since I basically learned how to fly. But my main passions are scale, pylon, slope soaring, Funfly, and any other type of modelling I can get my hands on, really. I supported James in bringing Funfly forward to be a specialist body, and I hold the position of secretary of the British Flying Funfly Association. I also established Evolution Models over 10 years ago now, where I supply the Fusion Fly Funfly kit, among other models. So to kick off tonight's webinar, James and I will be going through the following topics. We will be looking at what is Funfly, a brief history, what Funfly can do for your club, club and inter-club competitions, national competitions and classes, models, types, design and cost, why Funfly, links and questions. So with no further ado, I'll hand you back to James.
Okay, thanks, Gavin. So yeah, what is Funfly? First thing, basically, Funfly is an RC power discipline, and a Funfly competition at club level can be pretty much anything as long as it's simple and fun using normal club sport models. Obviously, at national level, the models become a lot more specialist, but basically it's designed so that anyone can have a go and enter into competition flying with minimal expense. Funfly competitions are all against the clock, so there's no need for judges, with the result being your score at the end of the time against the scores of your fellow competitors. Simple as that. We're all in this sport for fun, and we hope to show you that the main aim of Funfly is, of course, fun. So, yeah, take you into a brief history of Funfly now. Really, Funfly evolved all over the country in the 1960s, when, with new proportional radio control systems, pilots and clubs wanted to challenge themselves and their models a bit more. It first became an event at the Power Nationals in 1985. That was run by Robin Jones and his team from the Midwest area, who did an amazing job making the competition so popular and welcoming. Robin's team retired in 2007, and our team, mainly made up of our club members from the Caterham Model Flying Club, took over in 2008, and we have been thoroughly enjoying running the event ever since. I must at this point say that we have a fantastic team that gives us great support, and we certainly couldn't do it without them. So yeah, well done to them. In 2018, we formed the British Funfly Association and became a BFA specialist body, with all the benefits that come with that. Membership is free. You basically join by entering a BFFA competition run on behalf of the BMFA, and that's, yeah, and you get voting rights after 3 years of competitions. We have actually coming up next year, or this coming year, a Funfly weekend at Buckminster on the 5th and 6th of June, which is aimed at an introduction to Funfly, with practice and competitions as well. Hopefully we get to do that anyway. Okay, so that's a sort of brief history of Funfly. That picture, I think, was taken, the main picture was taken about 1995 at the Nationals. So it's quite 25 years old or so now. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Find out what Funfly can do for your club. As a club, we run a full year of competitions. On the right-hand side there, you can see our last year's club calendar, which didn't actually get to do much of course, but that's what we usually plan to do. A lot of those competitions are Funfly, with events like Limbo, Touch and Go, Carrier Deck Landing, Blackjack, Triple Thrash, Water Carrying, or slightly sillier ones like Left is Right, Donut Dropping, or even sillier ones like Mastermind Just a Minute. We'll tell you more about those in a minute. This range of events is designed to be appealing to everyone, whatever their skill at Funfly, and brings a whole different dimension to club flying. It really brings the club together, and everyone really looks forward to a Funfly day, with most of these events being just as much fun to watch as they are to take part in. They also serve to improve pilot skill and confidence, as well as giving flyers a sense of purpose, and we have a really healthy, friendly, competitive spirit within the club, with awards at the end of the year. No one feels put off entering, as we keep competitions low-key, informal and fun. We especially find juniors are encouraged by entering, with most of them now showing us how to do it, like Gavin's two sons, Matthew and William, who are really coming on very well. Funfly is accessible to all average club flyers. It's affordable and needs very little in the way of specialist equipment to run the events. We also want to encourage more inter-club Funfly events. These are great fun, and they add so much to the social side of any club as well. We run some inter-club events in the southeast area, usually mixed with a barbecue, and they really are an excellent way of mixing with other clubs and fellow modelers in a friendly, competitive way. Other areas also have their own Funfly competitions, we know, and we'd like to really get some sort of league going and hopefully encourage more to go on and enter the national competitions. So yeah, hopefully that's given an idea of what Funfly can do for your club. If we move on to the competitions themselves now, club and inter-club competitions. As we said before, club competitions can be made up of a huge range of different Funfly competitions. And here are a few, just to give you an idea of the sort of thing for simple, basic club competitions that anyone can enter. The first one's Spot Landing. This is really pretty much one of the simplest competitions you can have. It started out initially as first sort of fun fly competition that people started doing. Basically, it's an accurate landing competition where you land as close to the middle of a square as you can. You can add a bit of other things into that. You can have it a timed event. So you say like you can fly for a minute. You can either time that minute or get the pilot to time it themselves, which is even more exciting. So you get your landing score, then minus or however many seconds over or under the time. Next one is loops and land, which is again another variation on spot landing, really. Instead of doing the actual landing, though, you time yourself for a minute, so you're counting the minute yourself. But in that minute, you have to do as many loops as possible. You can see the confusion there. You end up starting counting loops instead of seconds, and it all gets really messy. But it's, again, good fun. Moving on, next one, Mastermind, just a minute. This is one of Gavin's creations. Again, it's another variation on the minute thing. Again, you count yourself a minute, so you take off, fly for a minute, and try and land as close to the minute as possible, but you're counting yourself. But all the time you're flying, you're being bombarded with various general knowledge questions for extra points. That tends to put you off your counting, of course, but then again, yeah, it's all good fun. Right, next one, water carrying. Bit different, this one. Again, any model can do this. You just strap a polystyrene cup of water on the top of your model, take off, fly a circuit, and land, and try and keep as much water in as possible. We usually do double points for a loop at this point. Inside loops usually better than outside loops, obviously, but yeah, double points for a loop. We've also got water carrying short landing there, which is again a variation of water carrying invented by Gavin's son Matthew. This one, again, you do your water carrying, but this time you have to land and stop in the shortest time possible. So you fly over a meter-high tape at the end of the runway, land and stop as near to that tape as possible. But again, trying to keep the water in the cup. Next one, carrier deck landing is the next one. Again, getting a little bit more involved now. You paint a deck on the runway. It's probably about 10 meters long, this deck. Divided up into grids, say 20, 40, 60, 80 or 100 points. And in the direction you're landing, 20's the big square right down to the end with 100. So wherever your wheels touch are the points you get, but you mustn't run off the edge or the sides of the deck or the end of the deck. So to get to the 100 points, you have to touch and stop very quickly before you run off the end. Again, quite a simple competition, but it sort of pushes you to go for the higher points. Next one, tangerine dropping. Instead of a cup of water on the model, you now have a little wooden pole which you slide a cord tangerine over, take off, fly over the target on the runway, eject your tangerine by rolling, looping or nodding the plane however you want, and drop it on the target. You usually get 3 drops. Nearest one to the middle is the winner. Another one, blackjack. This is a slightly more involved competition. You've got grids on the runway with different numbers, 1 point, 2 points, 5 points, and 10 points. And using touch and goes, with 1 touch and go per circuit, you have to get 21 in the quickest time possible. So obviously the quickest
just add in there, James, we had to remove this one from the nationals because we couldn't keep up with people looping, and we couldn't add up quick enough.
Yeah, so yeah, that one isn't a nationals event anymore, but it's a good club competition. Obviously the quickest time is 2 10s and a 1, but yeah, however way you want to do it. Another one is Skittles. This is a bit mad, this one. You either love it or hate it. You got a load of old drinks bottles on the runway with a little bit of water in them. On the end of your undercarriage is a long bit of string with a tennis ball on it. You fly along and try and knock the Skittles over with the tennis ball. And the Skittles can be numbered, different points, that sort of thing. It's a another variation of a fun fly competition. And then the last two are really the staple fun fly competitions, which are touch and go and limbo. These are really my favourite of the lot. Touch and goes, 2 minutes to do as many touch and goes on the runway or in a square as you can. 1 touch per circuit and all the touches in the same direction. That's a really good leveler. And the last one, limbo, which is really great fun, good adrenaline competition. It's a 6 foot high limbo tape made up of videotape. You have to fly under the limbo in the same direction as many times as you can in 2 minutes. Simple as that. It's a good competition, very good competition. So that's giving you an idea, just a few of the sort of club competitions that you and your club can get and do. There is more on our website, obviously, but we'll come back to that later. Right, moving on to national competitions now, and the nationals themselves. Obviously, at the nationals event, the fun fly is a lot more structured, but without losing its sense of fun. We have a set of rules that we have refined and updated over a number of years in conjunction with the competitors. The only entry requirement at the nationals is a B certificate. Now, while fun fly is a perfect introduction to competition flying and flown by people of all skill levels, with the emphasis always on fun, at the top level it requires a huge amount of skill and practice to get near the top. We have flyers at the nationals that fly many other disciplines like F3A or IMAC, and they say that fun fly is in many ways the hardest. Taking limbo for an example, one mistake causing that tape to be cut and your attempt is over, and you could score 0 points for that task. If you add wind into that as well, and you're aiming for 40 to 50 limbos in 2 minutes to get towards the top of the leaderboard, you can see what they mean. They also say, however, that they keep coming back for more, as there's nothing like the intensity, excitement, adrenaline, the sense of achievement of a good 2 minutes going under the limbo. So that's what the competitors think. There's 2 classes at the nationals. First class is class 1. This is for the more accomplished pilot, and the models are pretty much unlimited. This class attracts many own designs, which is definitely something we like to encourage. With 5 very different events over the weekend in both classes, a model has to be very flexible and good at all 5 to do well. So the design of the model at top level is very important. Competitions for class 1 include climb and glide, which is a 20-second climb. Then you turn your motor off, completely off, and glide for as long as possible, and there's a landing bonus for getting back on the square as well. Believe it or not, the class 1 record for climb and glide, I believe, is nearly 14 minutes from a 20-second climb with a fun fly model, which is very impressive. It hasn't been beaten for many, many years, I have to say. Other events, limbo and touch and goes, as I said before. I think the class 1 record for that is by Dan Workman, and it stands at 56 for touch and goes in 2 minutes, which is incredible to watch. I've got it on an old video somewhere. And triple thrash, which is 3 touch and goes in the square. The square is 21-foot square. It's 3 touch and goes, 3 rolls, 3 loops, and another touch and go in the shortest time. And again, Dan Workman holds the record for that, and it's an incredible 12 seconds. That we have got a video of that, which hopefully you can see at the end. There's a mystery round as well in each class, and class 1's mystery round is between dead stick aerobatics, balloon bursting, rope, and the new competition, which is touch and go pylon race. That adds a dimension of speed into the event as well. So a model's got to be good at speed as well. So basically it's 5 laps of a 100-meter course with a touch and go at every lap. So you've got to speed up, slow down, touch and go 5 laps in the quickest time. So that should be quite good fun. That's a new one for this year. Class 2 at the Nationals. This is a real entry-level class aimed at the club flyer wanting to enter competition flying. The models are restricted on engine size or battery voltage, with no mixing of controls, etc. This is to keep the model similar in performance and keep it affordable to everyone. Events are very similar to Class 1, except Spins and Spot replaces Triple Thrash, and the mystery round is a choice of dead stick aerobatics, balloon bursting, water carrying, or donut dropping, which is very similar to Tangerines, but we just mix it up with some donuts instead, which are rubber. Right, summing up the Nats then, the National Fun Fly has a bit of everything, from the average club flyers starting out in competition, gaining experience and confidence, while having a very entertaining and enjoyable weekend. The top flyers showing extreme skill, which is incredibly exciting to watch. We take pride in running one of the friendliest flight lines at the Nationals, and would thoroughly recommend you joining us on the August Bank Holiday at Buxton Heath. If, like last year, the Nationals doesn't take place, we always try and run our own Fun Fly Nationals, which we did at Buckminster back in October. Anyway, that's the Nationals. Again, if you've got any questions, please put them in the question thing and we'll try and answer them at the end. I'll now hand you over to Gavin, who's going to tell you a bit about model types and design. Gavin.
Thanks, James. The first mass-produced models were really the Watt4, the Panic biplane, and if those of you can remember back that far, the SMC Splot. I had one of those and it certainly went splat. Avicraft of Bromley in Kent then designed the Moronic, which was the model to beat in the start of the early 90s. Avicraft were also responsible for leading fun fly designs at this time, along with Bob Ryan, who developed a model that would set the trend for most modern fun flies that follow. That model was the Avicraft Frantic. This development saw the introduction of wide wing chords, big moving surfaces, gave great maneuverability, tight looping capability, and a huge speed range. This is what really changed the game at that time, and that's when the records really began to be pushed higher and higher. Flying skill is important, but the design of the model is also critical to your success. A model will have to be able to perform a number of disciplines well, and will need a vast range of flight characteristics. It will need to be light enough with good gliding characteristics, but heavy enough to penetrate the wind and be able to slow up through the limbo. Fast enough for triple thrush, but slow enough for water carrying. Stable in tight loops, but unstable for spinning. Lots of power, but a light power system. So you can see it's quite a mix of abilities. Models that followed were again sold on their success at the Nationals, with the Limbo Dancer from Slec and the FU2, both winning the Nats. There are also a number of ARTF models which became available, opening up to everybody really, which are the Cougar, Magic and Jive. And that gave everybody a capable model with very little building time. Nowadays, nearly all fun fly models tend to be electric powered, with the benefit of huge instant power, reliability, and no risk of stopping the engine if the touch and go becomes a little bit too heavy. Modern models are often a refinement on those previous designs that we mentioned, with constantly evolving wing sections, but above all lightness combined with strength. Evolution Models Fusion came along onto the scene over 10 years ago, and our kit's been through a development phase to produce the Fusion 2 and is still available when we can get hold of some wood, that is, along with other Funfly kits, including the Limbo Dancer from Slec and the Funfly from Slec, Touch and Go from Balsa Cabin, and Avicraft's latest design, which is called the Fun E. I think there are only two ARTF designs still available, which are the Western Cougar and the Watt 4. I'm not sure the Magic is anymore. A lot of the top pilots do their own designs or modify existing kits to suit their style. However, Martin Bell, who's pictured there in the centre, is one of Funfly's most ingenious designers and never fails to come up with unique and mostly successful models. Martin has been a multiple Class 1 winner in recent years, and in the 2019 Nats, Martin came up with a model that actually the wings folded out when it got to height for gliding to give it additional gliding ability. That was something to behold, and we enjoy that. That's part of the hobby, the development and pushing it forward. Funfly is appealing to top level pilots, and the model design nearly important as a skill. You have to be good at 5 different tasks throughout the competition. It's not just a one trick, one horse race. Funfly is also affordable. I will caveat that it is affordable in modelling terms. A kit can be bought for £70 or less if you design your own. Covering and sundries 30, motor and ESC for £60, battery £40, and servo around about £50. So you can have a model, a competitive model, for around about £250, and then you can come and join in the fun, because it is fun. Thanks. I'll just hand you back to James, who's just going to take you through why you should do it.
Okay, yes. So, yeah, to summarise, really, why Funfly? First of all, Funfly is for everyone, as hopefully we've shown. It's affordable, easy to enter competition flying, easy way into competition flying. Huge benefits for every club, as I hope we've shown, social side as well as competitive side. It improves pilot skill and confidence. As I say, all competitions are against the clock, so there's no need for judges. There's no sort of way of judges having their own opinions. It's all down to the clock at the end of the day. Huge variety of competitions, from really relaxed, as we've shown, to a huge adrenaline rush. Believe me, the limbo is a big adrenaline rush, and it's a great feeling when you get it, when you get a good one. And finally, it's very, very rewarding, exciting, and above all, a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a little insight into the world of Funfly. We've got a few links to show you, which Gavin will take you through just briefly.
Yeah, we've included some links and some of the videos that we were talking about earlier. Some of those are available if you go to the British Funfly Association's website. The videos are available on there, courtesy of Peter Mumford. We've also got links here for some of the model manufacturers in the UK. And the Caterham District Model Flying Club page. So if you have any questions, you can either contact James or I through the Funfly page or through the CDMFC page. So that leads us on to questions, really.
Just quickly, Gavin, the British Funfly Association website. Also, if you keep an eye on that, there's a news feed you can sign up to, so you get up-to-date information on events coming up. So yeah, it's good to keep an eye on that if you want to take part in one of our national events. Sorry, carry on.
I can drop you that link in the chat box now to that short, it was a triple thrash video. So if everybody's got the chat window open, I'll put a link in there now, and the video is only 30 seconds, but it's quite an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, it's Dan Workman's record-breaking triple thrash video, which is, as I said, 3 touch and goes in the box, followed by 3 rolls, 3 loops, and another touch and go, and he managed to do all that in 12 seconds, which is incredible. It's something to watch. I think the best I've done it is about 40 seconds.
The link's in the chat box now, so if you double click on it, you can watch the video before we go to the questions.
It's not very long, as you might expect. We've got a few questions that down there, I think.
We have indeed. Sorry, we're just trying to get back onto the screen now. All that extracurricular there. That was fantastic, guys. Thank you for that. And I've never knew distracting somebody whilst flying could be so much fun. And I look forward to to actually witnessing that someday. You asking questions like Magnus Magnuson. That sounds like a lot of fun, that does.
It's not quite Magnus Magnuson. We have learned that they need to be questions for under fives.
Right. Okay. That's even more difficult then. Right. I'm going to run through a couple of questions here. There's been a number on there for a little while. In fact, somebody came straight in with one. Joanne Sharp. Can you please recommend a power setup, including batteries, for a beginner in Class 2?
Class 2, I've been experimenting with a number of motors, but the best setup I've found, and others may disagree, is a 3548 motor, but 1100 kV, an 80 amp speed controller, and then the 3S battery to comply with the rules. That seems to be quite competitive.
Cool. Angus Balfour, who was best between Pete Mumford and Dan Workman? You may not want to answer that.
I'll leave that one to you, James.
I think they're equally as good, really, aren't they? I mean, they've both been national champion. Dan's the current champion.
Peter wasn't there, was he? So he couldn't defend his title.
But no, they're both excellent and a joy to watch. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Always good putting you on the spot there. Craig Kane, perhaps you're going to cover this, but can you recommend a complete beginner setup for club level?
I think any of the models are good enough at club level. It depends whether you want to go electric or glow, but majority of the links that I put up there will take you to models which can be used for quite powerful setups or for lower end equipment. So yeah, I think any of those really. If you want anything specific, then you can contact me at Evolution Models.
I have to say a foam Watt 4 is capable of doing most club competitions perfectly well.
Yeah.
And I use that. That's my bottom left after someone landed on it.
Me.
Excellent. Philip Goff, I take it you use a rearward centre of gravity. What is the rule of thumb for this, please?
Again, it depends on the model. Rearward centre of gravity tends to make it. Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's all individual setup. You set the model up the way that you like to fly it, and everybody has their own requirements, the way they like their model to fly. I tend to have it pushed a little bit forward, but others don't. So again, it's down to your flying style.
And Funfly models don't tend to be very fussy on CFG.
No.
If you get them too far back, they're not going to do anything nasty. So yeah, it's just down to tweaking it to how you like, really.
I think this is a similar question to one of the previous ones, but I'll run it past you anyway. Stuart Hames, what are the best models to start with in Funfly? Do the commercial kits provide a good starting point? I think you've answered that, but you might want to elaborate on it.
I know what Gavin's going to say.
I think, again, as we've already answered, there are a number of kits out there. They are all good. Everybody has their own flying style. One will suit one person and another will suit somebody else. So, I think it's just a matter of talking to club members or other people who've got the models and, seeing what will suit you best.
A regular of ours, William Lemercier, can you use a Bolero, mini Bolero for Funfly?
A Bolero, is that the mid-wing?
I think
model?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Again, any model. Some models will suit some competitions better than others. So there's no rhyme or reason why you can't enter Funfly with any model at all, even a Watt 4 foamy.
In my other club, a few years ago now, I entered all their Funfly competitions throughout the whole year with my quarter scale Flybaby biplane, just to prove that that you could enter anything. And I think I came second overall in the year. So you can enter any plane you like, as long as whatever makes you feel good about Funfly.
Well, Gavin, you just mentioned this, but Stephen Swindles asks, is the Watt 4 foamy a challenge? You may not. You may want James to answer that, but
Yeah, I'll get James to answer that, because he's, as he says, he's won the Nationals Class 2 with a foam, with Watford foamy.
Yeah, I mean the fun fly. Yeah, the foamy was good. It was not best at everything or anything really, but it was consistently okay throughout the whole event, which at the end of the day came out on top. And they're very vice free, easy to fly, manoeuvrable. Not as manoeuvrable as an all-out fun fly, but they certainly do everything your club competitions want to do. The only thing with the Watford is they're a bit prone to nosing over, so touch and go's got to be a bit careful. Apart from that, good model. Yeah.
Simon Sharp, what about climb and glide? That's the question.
What about climb and glide?
I know, Simon.
Yeah, it's climb and glide's an interesting one. It can be quite. It's the first event of the weekend at the Nationals, and it can sometimes be quite decisive, because if somebody gets a good time with climb and glide, they can actually set the bar quite high for everybody else to catch up. So, but all the competitions are that way. If you do well in one, then you can go ahead, and then you can sort of pick up the pace as you go through. But climb and glide is a 20-second climb and then stay up as long as you possibly can. So some models are better at gliding, some are better at climbing. Power is obviously a factor in this, to get up as high as you can within those 20 seconds. But without anything specific, that's it.
Well, interestingly, when Funfly first started at the Nationals, they had a 40-second climb. And as power and performance of models increased, they went to 30 seconds, and now we're down to 20 seconds. And at 20 seconds, you can, it's quite, high enough that you have, you don't want to go any higher.
Yeah, electric power's kind of driven that forward, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Long question here from Martin Dilly. Why do you think there's such a resistance to competitions by radio flyers? I think a particularly attractive point about Funfly for radio flyers is that it doesn't involve any sort of judging. It's purely objective. So there's no question of halo factors or faces not fitting or being told your flying isn't as good as someone else's. How can you get this across to more people? There's a group of questions there for you.
Well, I think, this is what we're trying to do with Funfly, really, is to tell, get the message across that competition flying doesn't have to be totally, people have this opinion that it's very serious and you've got to have the top of the range models and all this thing to start competition flying, but with Funfly you don't, and it's
open to all. Yeah, open to all people. Everybody's welcome. Everybody has a good laugh. If you do badly, you've got to take the ribbing. if you do well, you've also got to take the ribbon. So it's just good fun. It is a group of people together, some silly competitions, some more serious ones, which people, as James says, can get the adrenaline rush. But it is just good fun. Just good fun with your mates.
The banter at Funfly competitions at the club is great. Everyone sits down and watches however you do.
Encourages, James. Encourages.
That's it, encourages. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Right. David Baker, how and what materials used to build the Limbo rig?
Down the field, it can be anything from some garden canes and some string. We use videotape because it breaks. I'll let James take you through what we use at national level, because that's a little bit more substantial. But anything really that you can get your hands on to make a quick frame.
Yeah, but at the club level we have just garden canes, as Gavin said, with sort of a couple of strings just to hold it up, but loosely penned in. So if the model does hit the tape, the whole thing kind of collapses, so it doesn't do too much damage to the model. The Nationals, we got some big steel tubes which are hammered into the ground. Again, with guy ropes, but the actual Limbo frame itself, the sides and the top are made of videotape. So again, if you hit that, it just breaks. We've got quite a stock of videotape, hopefully enough, because we can't. It's difficult to get now. But CDs don't really do it. But, we've got a good stock of that.
Somebody you probably know, Simon Sharp, he said, give Nomads BMFA a shout, please.
Hi, Nomads.
Yes, Nomads are hosting, hopefully, if we can, an area fun fly event. If I remember when it is, Simon will tell me, no doubt. July the 4th, I think. So that's a southeast area fun fly event on July the 4th at the Nomads. Yeah.
She's just outside Dartford in Kent,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Terry Rigdon, why the minimum weight? Have you considered an indoor class?
We did look at an indoor class a few years back, but never really got around to it because we're very busy doing competitions, club and nationals. So a good idea. If you want to run one, why not? The 2.5 pound limit was really to gauge the size of the model. I think James can probably add a little bit more to this, being that he's writes the rules and puts everything together.
Yeah, I think the 2 pound weight limit it's basically little shock flies, things like that. You can do incredibly tight loops, and they're so easy to go around limbos. So if you've got something a bit bigger, a foam watt 4 is just in the minimum weight limit. So that's the kind of size of model you're looking at. It's just to make it a bit fairer for everyone, really.
Okay, Peter Aris, do most people bring spare models? I'm assuming breakages aren't uncommon.
Looking at the photographs on screen, no. During the weekend, you might break something, but there's always somebody there with some gaffer tape to help you put things back together safely, of course.
We do scrutineer afterwards.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you can have 1 or 2 models, but generally on a weekend we won't. We'll scrape it and we'll bash it, but generally it'll be flyable.
Phil Holland, why no electric mixing?
This is on class 2.
Yeah, you can on class 1. But... Sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah, sorry. You can. The idea is to make it class 2 a simple class to be in, so there's no mixing the flaps in and making things more complicated. Class 2 is meant to be just an entry level, so everybody is at the same point. Obviously the models are different, but you're not adding additional complication to flat mixing and various other things that the class 1 guys will do.
Another one from Mark. I suppose this is a question. This question relates to all classes of competition. However, realistically, how likely is it that competitions will run this year?
Perhaps I'd better pick that one up.
I think, the Prime Minister has something to say in this. I think somewhere along the lines, but
yeah, it's one which we're constantly monitoring. Obviously, getting back to flying on our own fields and so on is dependent on the Prime Minister and Matt Hancock and the recommendations for the way the virus is developing. But as far as the nationals is concerned, at the moment we're not allowed onto MOD property, and I shall be in communication with Cranwell as soon as possible. But the likelihood of us getting a commitment from them, I think, before April-May time, I think is very unlikely. So, but watch the BMFA website and we'll push it out as soon as we can.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I'm assuming you've put together a contest calendar, but it's probably starting sort of, in the spring onwards, and you're just hopeful. I guess you've got that contest calendar lined up. Yeah,
we've got some dates in the diary. Obviously, we've got the Buckminster date, which James mentioned earlier. We hope the nationals will go ahead at the end of the year. We haven't done a club one yet because we're waiting to find out what's going on when we can get back to our fields. But we're always planning to do something throughout the year.
Sorry, I just read a question now and it just made me giggle, but I'll ask it now. David Colley, what size bin bag is best? Pedal bin?
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Dave knows the answer to this question because he brings one to the field with him.
Simon Sharp, will James be using his Flybaby at the Nats?
No. it's over the engine size for the nationals, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. Right, Colin Walsh, what size LiPo for the Fusion 2, please?
3 or 4 cell 2200, depending on your power setup, but they work best. 3 cell, it depends what motor you're running. So if you want to drop me a line after this, then I can let you know.
Yeah, I think he's likely to, because he wants to know if he can buy some plans for one. So, so there you go.
Okay.
We'll let him sort that one out after this. Dave Gins, the Fusion 2 shows out of stock. Any idea when available? Obviously,
just waiting on balsa wood. If anybody can get me balsa wood, that would be great.
yeah, let me know what you want. Right, okay. Chaz Campen, if you went electric, what batteries would you use, and how many packs would you need for an average comp?
I tend to use 4 cell 2200s, as we just mentioned. Some of the other guys use more powerful setups in class 1, 5 or 6 cell. But it's that balance again between power and lightness. You've got to have that balance. So it's again one of those things you've got to test and set up your model to your power requirements or what you think is best.
Yeah, I mean, I did the whole of the nationals this year with 2 packs easily, because they're very small flight times. Really, you've got 20-second climb for climb and glide. That's it. The others are 2 minutes, and so you don't use a lot of battery over the event. So 2 packs is fine, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Cool. P. Wadu asks, any guidance you can give on the best wing sections for models, please?
Pointy at the rear end and fatter at the front end, I think is the answer to that. I think, yeah, there's a number of wing sections that people are using. I'm experimenting with. I'm experimenting with under camber at the moment, so it's difficult to say. Funfly again is a personal model. It is something that you develop. The section, it can be a thin section which will glide better, or a fatter section which will slow your model up quicker. It's down to the individual.
Martin Dillier's come back. Is there any restriction on models for climb and glide events?
Don't think so. Obviously, you can't change the model. You can't change the model. So if you've got a 5-meter glider, you will struggle to get it underneath the limbo.
Okay, Paul Oliver, is there some plans, COVID restrictions permitting, for other fun flying meetings this year? Obviously, there is Buckminster that you've mentioned. So again, I think you probably have covered that one, but if there is any...
Yeah, there's Buckminster. I mean, basically, we're just trying to encourage pit clubs and areas to get and do their own competitions. And if we get maybe like to get some sort of league set up, that would be great. And then everyone move into the national competition at the end of it, really. So yeah, just get your clubs doing competitions and areas. But no, we'll put on events if there's demand for it.
Brilliant. William's back with another question. Could you use variable pitch wings, full wings that rotate around a fixed point in the fuselage?
Effectively, yes. In class 1, I think. I'll have to check the rules on class 2, unless you know, James, off the top of your head.
I think it says you've got to have 4 normal control elevator, aileron, and that sort of thing, I think, on class 2. So class 2 is fairly restricted, but class 1 it's pretty much unlimited. Yeah.
Bob Ryan, not really a question, but the best models will be very light, powerful and easy to repair. Good to see Funfly go from strength to strength.
Yeah, hello Bob, nice to see you. It's,
yeah, thanks Bob.
Bob is a multiple nationals winner. Good to see him.
Right. Chris Bates is asking about the Fusion 2 plans, so it looks like another customer. Jim Wright, at the Ivanhoe Soaring Association, we run EPP thermal soaring events and run as a postal with other clubs when permitted to minimise travel and too many people together. So I think he's putting a suggestion for Dave. You could probably sort of postal or
good idea.
so I've just got to clear a few of these. Peter Mumford. Here's Martin's wing folding out on Facebook. Andy, I don't know whether you might be able to put that one on for a link later.
If you just mark it as answered live, it will show in the answered questions for everybody to see.
Right. So
It's certainly ingenious.
Mm.
right.
Yeah,
'Cause
there is a video of it, and I was trying to look for it earlier, but we'll try and get it up onto the BFFA site if we can.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
there's a rule that says you mustn't change the wings throughout the competition, but Martin isn't changing the wings, that everything in the wing stays in the wing. It just changes its shape for various competitions and folds back in again for the others. But
Gotcha.
it's very ingenious.
Brilliant. James Penman, are rubber bands generally considered better to secure the wings than bolts?
It allows the wing to shift without tearing the fuselage apart, so I would suggest yes.
Yeah.
Colin Walsh, undercamber with such a wide chord creates excessive down pitch at full power and requires elevator flat mixing. Sort of statement, I guess you may concur or not on that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an experimental. I have done some undercamber before on another model. It didn't have that tendency, so it's pushing the boundaries of what you can do and just experimenting.
It tends to be a very mild undercamber, so it's
Yeah.
it's nothing too severe.
Cool. Colin Arnold, what brand and type of covering material is suggested?
There are not many out there now, so I'm going to have to say Oracover.
Yeah,
Right.
I used to use that Solar Film Solite or something, which was very light.
Yeah.
But again, you just can't get it anymore, unfortunately.
I think Oracover do a Aura Light, and I've gone back to on fuselages using dope and nylon.
Colin Walsh comes back. Yes, I tried it last year. I tried it this year, last year. I'm not quite sure. It's Y year. You might want to come back on that one. Mr. Ellison, would you make the Caterham Club comp rules generally available to all, please, in addition to the NATS rules in the RC Power Book?
Yeah,
yes,
I believe I've got a spreadsheet that we run throughout the year, which has a marking sheet and the rules attached at the bottom, so we can certainly make that available.
We were going to add them to the website at some point, weren't we?
At some point,
soon,
yeah.
So, yeah.
We're sitting
we can do
indoors
that.
doing nothing, so I'm guessing we could get on with it soon.
Yeah.
Brilliant. William, again, could you use helium bags for the climb and gliding class 1?
Not after we've rewritten the rules next year.
Yeah, they would be in the wings to increase the amount of lift. I mean, I guess this is what it's all about for you guys. You know, it's having fun and lateral thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting the most out of the model within the rules. So yeah,
There is nothing in the rules that would stop you from doing that
Brilliant.
currently.
Joseph Kemp, you mentioned left is right earlier. Can you elaborate?
right. Okay, so there's a model on the buddy box. The competitor is on the trainer one, and basically the model has all of its throws reversed, and you then have to fly a course figure of 8 circuit.
A certificate, isn't it, really?
Yeah, basically an A certificate with all your controls reversed. That's that one, but it's on buddy box, obviously for safety reasons.
Wow. Okay.
You did ask.
I did ask for somebody else. Yeah, absolutely on that one. Yeah, Chris Bates, he still wants to know about this plan for the Fusion 2. You're going to have to get in touch with Gavin after this, please. I think on that one. Right, you've actually answered 44 questions there, guys.
Okay.
Andy, are we spotting any other questions there before we wrap up this evening?
I think we've covered just about everything there. I did drop a few links in the chat box for upcoming webinars that we've got. The achievement scheme updates on Thursday. Next Tuesday's in the air tonight, which is Kevin Caton again, moving forward with aerobatics. And then next Thursday, we've got the Article 16 model flying in 2021 presentation rerun with the chief exec Dave Phipps. So get signed up to those. The other thing I think I need to cover just before everybody goes, I'll be sending an email out from the Funfly website in the next day or two with just links to the recording and the presentation slides and a few other bits and pieces. At the bottom of that link, there'll be an option to unsubscribe. So if you don't want to receive further emails from the Funfly website, just click on the unsubscribe. Otherwise, whenever they've got news and perhaps when they put these Caterham Club rules on there, you'll get an email notifying you that they're there. Okay. If anybody doesn't want adding to that list, if you just drop me an email and I'll make sure you're left off. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And we've got one more question coming, which just about sums up. I haven't stopped grinning the whole session, so I've really enjoyed it, fun flying and just listening to you guys doing it. But Jeff Blatchford, James, did you cover blind flying with a buddy? I mean, I don't even know whether this is serious or a wind up, but anyway, look.
No, that is serious. Jeff is one of our club members. We have done it a few times, again on a buddy lead, similar to the left is right, but instead of the model is actually the correct way around this time, but the pilot
you have a guide.
The pilot doing this is a team event. The pilot doing the flying is actually can't see the model, and your partner is telling you where to go, basically. That's it.
It's no good for us people who don't know their left from their right, is it?
No, it's not. But again, it's again on the buddy lead, so it's all very safe. But it's a good lot of fun, especially to watch again.
I'm sure.
the sort of the hand movements and the gesticulations from people trying to talk people around the sky is hilarious.
Yeah. It's got to be seen, I think. And no, that sort of sums it up for me. Actually, I think you've wrapped everything up brilliantly well. Thank you. And you've done brilliantly well on that. We've got one final question here, I think, and one more. Has anyone done it at night? That's flying, of course.
We did think about.
Yeah. We played around with balloon bursting with lights inside the balloons. So we've thought about it. We just haven't taken it very far at the moment.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, I think just thanks again, everybody. Andy summed up everything before, and we'll wrap up for the evening. It's exactly 8:30, so that's 1 hour of fun. And thanks, James and Gavin, for putting the show on for us.
Thank you.
Brilliant job.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done. Thank you. Virtual applause are all there.
Thank you.